Hello friends, welcome to yet another session on essay perspectives. The topic for today is not all who wander are lost. Sorry friends, last week we could not upload the video. I was stuck in a personal emergency. So hope you understand. Thank you. Friends, as always, I have a personal request. Third edition of my book Ethics, Integrity and Aptitude has unfortunately been pirated. So pirated copies are of very low print and paper quality. I urge all aspirants to buy original. Original copies can be bought from the seller Arvind India on Flipkart and from the seller Affordable on Amazon. Thank you. Friends, this topic can also be conceptualized as being made of various components and subcomponents. So first we would introduce this topic, then we would dwell upon the essence of the topic, then we would talk about the dimensions of wandering, then merits of wandering, demerits of wandering, then the best solution, then we would conclude. Friends, I think the best way to start this essay is by discussing about the various types of civil service aspirants. Friends, don't you think our journey as civil service aspirants is akin to wandering? There are different types of aspirants. There would be one set of aspirants who understand that their goal is to reach civil service, is to become civil servants, and they arrive at proper plan of action very early. They follow that plan of action and they reach the goal. Such aspirants do not wander, they do not get lost. But there are another set of aspirants who though know that they have to reach the goal of being civil service aspirants, they are lost, they wander in the process of realizing that goal. I mean, you can relate to most of the aspirants who don't stick to certain set of standard books. So today they read book 1, then tomorrow somebody else would recommend them book 2, then they would start reading book 2. So then third day somebody would recommend institute 1, so they would go to that institute. Fourth day they would go to another institute. So without any proper plan of action, they wander here and there, and finally, are all of them lost? Definitely no. Some people, even while wading through all this wandering, some aspirants would end up being civil servants. That means even with wandering, they end up being civil servants. And there would be some aspirants who wander like this, but they don't realize the goal of being civil servants. Yet, are they lost in this world? No. Some of them become successful as civil service trainers. Some of them, in this process of wandering, they start taking up different exams and they clear other exams like SSC, RBI grade B, or some state service exam, etc. etc. So, and there would be another fourth set of aspirants who wander like this, and finally they don't clear any exam, they don't become successful as civil service trainers, so thus they get lost. So thus this ocean of civil service aspirants presents us different variants of aspirants. Amongst them, most of them would be on wandering only, except one set who don't wander but just go as per the plan and reach the destination. But most of them wander here and there. But despite wandering here and there, some people would somehow reach their desired goal. Some people would reach the destinations which they did not think of while starting the journey, but yet they also become successful. So thus they also don't get lost. Though the wandering, though they wander, they don't get lost. But there would be one set of aspirants who wander crazily, yet do not chance upon reaching any destination, and they would get lost. Correct? So thus this essay seeks to analyze whether all those who wander are lost or not. Without much ado, let's start, friends. Okay, friends, after introduction, let us now dwell deep into the topic. So, friends, actually this essay statement is made of two important words or phrases, keywords, key terms, whatever you call it. The first one is wandering, the second one is being lost. What do you mean by wandering? Literal meaning of wandering implies that roaming here and there aimlessly. If a person not being pretty sure of where to go, then he would go here, go there, he would keep moving from one place to another place. That is wandering. Also, sometimes knowing very well where to reach, a person would not know how to go there. Then also he would be roaming here and there, not knowing how to reach his destination. That is also wandering. Correct? So wandering basically means moving here and there directionlessly. Correct? So that is what we call wandering. This is the literal meaning. Now the figurative meaning of this term is that doing this work, that work, doing this task and that task intermittently without having any clarity as to what works to be done to realize a particular goal, to accomplish a particular goal. So sometimes you don't know what to achieve, so you just keep on, you just keep on doing whatever comes in your way. Sometimes you know what to do, but you don't know how to, you don't know, you know what you want, but you don't know the path to be trodden in order to reach that goal. Correct? So that is what we call wandering. So thus, to put it in a nutshell, wandering essentially implies undertaking tasks without any plan. Then the second phrase is being lost. What do you mean by being lost? Being lost implies not being successful. As simple as that. So now let us bring these two statements together to decipher the meaning of the essay statement. That means a person who indulges himself in tasks without having any plan as to what would these tasks lead to, then such person would not become successful. Correct? So this is essentially one line meaning of the essay statement. That means whatever you do, you should do it with a purpose. If you do it with a purpose, if you do it with a plan, then you become successful. A person who undertakes activities without having any plan or purpose in mind would end up being unsuccessful. Correct? So now, after understanding the meaning, now it is time for us to explore the various dimensions of this statement. Of this term wandering. These dimensions are nothing but the reasons why a person undertakes activities without having any plan. Correct? So for anybody to do something, normally they have a plan, right? But sometimes if someone is doing something without any plan, then why are they doing it? So those reasons are something which we may call as dimensions. The first dimension is wandering purposelessly. That means a person is undertaking tasks randomly, undertaking activities randomly because he does not himself know what he wants in life. Correct? See, if your goal is very clear, then perhaps you do that reverse engineering and you would end up choosing those tasks that would enable you to reach that destination or realize that goal. But when you yourself are not sure about the goal, then you cannot, on what basis would you choose activities? You don't choose activities. So thus whatever comes in your way, you keep on doing it. So that is what we call wandering purposelessly. The classic example is most of our friends after 10th standards. See, they did not know, or most of the students even today while finishing their high school or 10th standard, they would not know whether they want to become chartered accountants. They don't know whether they want to become archaeologists or historians or geographers or whatever, economists, etc. They don't know whether they want to become engineer, doctor, agriculture scientist, or veterinarian, etc., etc. So they have no clarity. So no, most of them, and this happens more in rural areas and remote areas, they just join the course where the seat is available for their percentage in a college which is closer to them. Correct? So thus there are so many people who just take tasks randomly on their own without knowing what to do. And the second reason why people undertake tasks without any randomly, without any plan, is that they really want to reach some goal, but they still have not fixated themselves to one particular goal. So they have this immense desire, unwavering desire to do something big in life and to reach a very bigger goal, but they don't know what that goal is. So they are testing waters. So they are trying to test. They will take up activity 1. They try to do if that suits their interest or not. So once if they feel that it is their life's passion, then they go ahead and do it. If they find it to be something not their cup of tea, they would discard and they would switch to another task. Correct? So I mean they are wandering. They are wandering with an intention to discover the purpose of their life. The classic example is Buddha. When Buddha Siddhartha left his mansion and went in search of truth or enlightenment, he wanted to discover a purpose for life. He did not know how to, he did not know what to do. So he roamed here and there and he did soul searching, self-introspection, etc., etc., etc. So finally he had that enlightenment. So this process of undertaking activities without any plan also spurs from the fact that a person wants to test each and every activity before finally fixating on the activity on which he has to focus, so that he that would become his life's mission. Correct? Then third case is, you know what to do. A person is clear that the person is clear on the goal that he or she wants to achieve, but he doesn't know what activities would take him to that goal. Correct? In the second dimension, the destination is not decided. So a person undertakes activity one after the other in order to finally decide upon the activity that would take the person decides upon the goal from the activities he performs. Correct? In this case, he knows what to do, but he doesn't know what activities would take him there. So he would try with activity 1, and if that does not work, he goes to activity 2. So this is a subtle difference. The classic example is most of the aspiring actors who reach Bollywood, who go to Mumbai in search of a career in acting, they don't know whom to approach. They don't know how to get auditioned for a movie. Correct? They really want to become stars. They want to become actors. They have that clarity in mind. But knowing very well that they want to become stars, they don't know whom to approach. Should they have to approach through a film institute? Should they have to approach through some close contacts of some producers? Should they have to approach production managers? They don't know. They just land up. So those people also keep roaming. So thus, this undertaking tasks or activities without any plan may be because of all these three reasons, and these are the various dimensions of wandering. Friends, before analyzing whether everybody who wanders get lost or not, it is important for us to first understand whether wandering is desirable or not, whether there are any merits attached to wandering. Correct? See, if it is to be like wandering is an undesirable thing, you can just discard it and put it in dustbin. But it's not so, right, always. So we have to first understand the merits of wandering. On the face of it, it appears that wandering is waste of time. It is being undertaken by some idle person, some irresponsible guys. But it's not so, right? So let us try to understand the wandering. See, first and foremost merit of wandering is wandering, the purpose actually it purifies, it refines one's personality. It throws a person into soul searching, that is introspection. Correct? See, every time you do a particular activity, you realize something. You try to introspect yourself and then go to the next activity. So this is the first and foremost advantage of wandering. If you don't wander, you don't get this opportunity of introspection. Let us say an aspiring actor who lands in Mumbai in search of an acting career initially may be thinking that he is very good at dancing, very good at acting, very good at giving expressions, etc. But only when he goes to Mumbai to realize, he understands his weaknesses. Maybe he is not humble. Maybe there are finer ways of acting. Maybe there are finer ways of displaying emotions, expressing emotions. Correct? So thus that person, once he goes, then he would have that soul search. He would introspect himself and he would better himself. Correct? So, and to put it another way, finally wandering exposes a person to varied circumstances, varied experiences, most of them being adverse or harsh experiences, which actually push a person to introspect his weaknesses and come out a better person. And the next thing is personality development. See, wandering makes a person stronger. Why do you think a person, because this process of wandering would present failure, would present humiliation, would present insecurity before a person. Correct? Even civil service aspirants for that matter, civil service aspirants also, you go and you lose one attempt failure would actually make you so much stronger. You would be able to accept failures in a better way, in a positive way. You become a stronger individual. Correct? That is extremely important. So that is what makes a person what he or she is. Then it gives self-awareness. Wandering gives self-awareness. That means what? See, whenever you so long as you are in the cocoon of comfort, okay, then you would not try to try to realize your own strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. But once you go to the real world, which is not unfortunately very congenial, so then you are forced to do your own homework of identifying your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. So that actually builds your self-awareness. So then the third one is away from comfort zone. Correct, right? So a person his personality would not get developed so long as he is in the comfort of his parents, his guardians, etc. Only when a person goes out, he becomes independent. So that is the advantage of wandering. Then risk-taking ability. Friends, don't you think that your ability to take risk multiplies manyfold when you are on the run? Because when you are wandering, the responsibilities attached to you are less. The expectations from you are also less. Correct? When the expectations of others from you are less, automatically you would take more risk than you would have taken had there been more expectations from you. Correct? Because that is actually, this risk taking would make you explore something bigger. Then absence of inhibitions. Friends, when you are in your comfort zone, let us say you stay in a hometown and you want to do something great, but you don't have money in your own village or town where most of the persons know you very well, then you cannot take up small, odd, menial jobs. because people would point at you, mock at you, it brings a lot of social disapproval, then that actually inhibits you from exploring something. But if you are in an altogether unknown, anonymous atmosphere, so then actually you can do something. I mean, there would be no inhibitions attached to you. Then you would be able to take activities without any inhibitions attached, and you would strike gold. The best example is Padman. The Padman, I mean, you must have seen the movie of Akshay Kumar, Padman. I mean, the Arunachalam Muruganathan, the person on whose story is made into this movie Padman. See, actually he was in his village, so he really wanted to come up with a low cost sanitary napkin, but for experimenting it, he had to indulge in so many activities that actually he was difficult to, he was finding it difficult to understand all those activities. Why? Because he was in his own town. So people would laugh at him. Everybody thought he was some spirit had captured him. People started laughing at him. People thought he was mad, eccentric. His wife deserted him. Correct, all those things. Why it happened? Because he was in his hometown. Because he was not wandering, at least. So thus, it is, if you are, let us say, if you are in altogether some other town where people don't know you, then you don't have all these inhibitions. It's a different story that this Padman Arunachalam Muruganathan, despite being in his hometown, was able to discover, because he knew his purpose, he knew the plan to purpose, but finally was able to do it. It's a different story, because he's a great soul. But for everybody, it's not easy, right? So when you are in an altogether different environment, you can do odd menial jobs, make small money, invest that money and grow big, which is higher. So thus there are advantages attached to wandering also. Last thing is chancing upon gold. What do you mean by this? See friends, whenever you are wandering, sometime you come in contact with some person, you come in contact with some idea that would actually take you to places. Correct? So if you don't get into that, I mean, let us say if you, perhaps if you are not wandering, perhaps you would not have met that person, you would not have, become great. See, for example, the best example, if I remember correctly, the founder of Lalita Jewels, the jewelry chain across South India. Actually, the person from a village in Nellore district of Andhra Pradesh, he actually ran away from his house and he finally landed in Chennai. He somehow chanced upon, finding some odd jobs. Finally, he ended up working for a goldsmith. Correct? So, this wandering took him to a goldsmith, and I think the rest is history. All of us are aware. So, he has built one of the largest jewelry chains in the South India. So similarly, there are so many other cases. So the another example that is brought to my mind is of Vijay Prakash, the singer of Jai Ho fame, who in A.R. Rahman's troupe, who bagged Oscar award also. He was an budding singer from Mysore in Karnataka, so he landed up in Mumbai because he was in search of a purpose for his life. So he landed in Mumbai. Somehow, while roaming in Mumbai, he somehow chanced upon an opportunity for giving voices to advertisements. He became a voiceover artist initially, but actually that was all pure luck. So had he not started wandering, had he not gone out of Mysore, perhaps he would not have become what he is today. So he started his career as a voiceover artist. Later he became one of the topmost singers in South India, and he even bagged Oscar award. So thus Academy Award. So thus wandering actually brings a person in contact with so many unexplored possibilities. So thus wandering is not that bad. That is why not all those who wander are lost. in the process of wandering, see our textbook definition of success says a person should first have goal, a person should then contemplate or then formulate the mechanism to realize that goal. Then only a person should become successful. This is what our textbook definition of success says. But in reality, a person who does not have a plan, a person who does not have a goal, if he starts wandering, that means if he starts undertaking one activity or the other activity, okay, so you keep on doing something rather than sitting quiet, you keep on trying something, doing something, then in this process of doing something randomly, a person becomes a better person, a person's ability to explore new things increases, experiment new things increases, then finally in this journey a person stumbles upon something and that makes a person a real successful man, a real tycoon. So that is what, friends. So thus not all those who wander are lost. Friends, does that mean it is good to wander? Does that mean it is okay if a person does everything without a purpose and plan? The answer is no, friends. See, though the probability of wandering leading to success is not zero, but at the same time, see, this is not a desirable scenario. So then what are the demerits of wandering? So wandering actually leads to waste of resources. See, if you understand your purpose and plan well in advance, then you would start your journey towards success well in advance, so then you can conserve a lot of resources. If you yourself does not know the plan and purpose, then you keep on experimenting, that actually leads to a lot of wastage of resources. A person who doesn't know what businesses suit his business acumen, if he starts experimenting with every random business, then he would burn his fingers and he would incur losses. Correct? So thus it is important. So thus wandering actually is a scenario of wastage of resources. Then wastage of time. Friends, other resources can be earned back, but definitely not the time that is lost. A time once lost cannot be brought back. The classic example is civil service aspirants. You may think there are a few civil service aspirants who are not very sure of their optionals. They take up optional 1, they don't do well for 2 attempts, then they decide that they just took that optional because everybody advised them to take that optional, then they dump that optional, then they go to the next optional. It's a different story that there are some aspirants who, despite changing the optionals, have become successful. That's a different story. But I'm just trying to emphasize the time that they have wasted in just choosing the wrong optional. Correct? So thus it is important for us to get on to the track as early as possible. Otherwise this wastage of time becomes inevitable. Then disregard of responsibilities. What is meant by disregard of responsibility? See, sometimes in the process of wandering, in the process of realizing your objectives, in the process of realizing a purpose for your life, you would disregard the responsibilities which you are supposed to deliver. So let us take the example of a sports person, friends. If he wants to pursue his dream of sports, if he deserts his family and then wants to become something great in his life, don't you think it is like disregard of his responsibilities as a father and as a family man? Correct? So wandering also has this demerit because there are so many lives dependent upon that one person. If he disregards them and then starts pursuing his ambition, then perhaps that is wrong. Then last thing is drop in self-confidence. Don't you think, friends? See, when you are until you see the light at the end of the tunnel, you will not have any confidence. So when you keep on trying with that, keep on trying with this, so you are not very sure of which activity takes you where, then finally over a period of time you become you become very diffident, your confidence levels drop very crazily. It is only extraordinary souls who can keep their spirits high, not everyone. So thus this wandering has this problem of drop in self-confidence. Friends, after discussing about merits and demerits of wandering, it is time for us to come up or propose the best solution. From our discussion about the merits of wandering, it becomes amply clear that a person who wanders with respect to any of the three dimensions of wandering, every person has the chances of being successful. Okay, but however, the probability of being successful is highest in the cases of wandering where a person is clear about the purpose but not clear about the path. That probability gets reduced in cases where a person is wandering to discover the purpose, and that probability dwindles even in cases, dwindles for the cases where a person wanders purposelessly. Correct? So thus the probability decreases from one dimension to another dimension. However, the probability does not become zero. Correct? So thus in every form of wandering, there is a possibility that a person becomes successful. Correct? So it's not black and white, it's a pure case of grey. Then what is the solution for us? See, the best solution is a person has to be alert. In his journey of wandering, a person has to be alert to grasp the path as early as possible when his purpose is clear. A person should be alert enough to grasp the purpose when he is wandering to discover the purpose. Once that purpose is discovered, he should be alert enough to grasp the path as early as possible. Correct? Then, even in the case where a person is wandering purposelessly, he has to grasp purpose as well as path as early as possible. So there are chances to become successful even if a person wanders purposelessly, but however, that is not desirable. It is not at all wise to just wander. A person in his journey to wander should as quickly as possible grasp purpose and path so that he becomes successful earlier. Correct? So thus it is time for conclusion, friends. So from the above discussion, the apt conclusion would be wandering, though has the probability of success associated with it, it is not desirable, not at all desirable. But when it becomes inevitable, one has to take it in the right spirit, and one should not strive to wander. But when wandering becomes indispensable, when the wandering becomes inevitable, a person has to take it in the right spirit and try to find out and has to search for the cues in his environment, grasp those cues to discover his path and purpose and becomes successful. Okay friends, thank you. Thanks for the patient hearing. Thank you.